Hi, Jesse from Discount. How are you today?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing super good. We're, sounds like they've done a lot of negotiation on this, but I guess they always say they would save the best for last, so that's why they called us in, right?
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty excited.
Okay.
So how have you been doing? How are you feeling about this whole thing?
I'm feeling really good about it. I feel like we're pretty close to coming to a deal. I think the big issue here has just been this impasse, and there's a couple of minor issues. I mean, mostly we have done this same clause in all of our other stores, so I guess maybe the issue is mostly coming from you guys. And what are your guys' main concerns with not letting the clause go through?
You know, I think it's a really smart clause on your guys' part to do something like that to protect yourselves where you are such a big company. I understand. I guess for us, the issue is we're so new to this, and something like that clause is really intimidating for us just because we're not really sure what to expect, from our other satellite retailers and what they'll think about having a clause like that could threaten them. And I think that's where the big disconnect is between us. I would really like to bridge that gap because I understand your guys' desire to protect your business, and I think that we're kind of just on that point.
Okay, so just if I'm hearing this right, your main concern is the other satellite stores that will be coming in. That's your biggest concern?
I think that's one of our concerns. I think it's just the fear of the unknown. We don't have a lot of experience with a lot of retail, and we're excited to kind of get into that. And I know that you guys have a lot of experience. I think that our concern is more that we're not sure how that would look for us, to have that kind of clause input into your contract. We're not sure how that would affect us. And while I appreciate your guys' desire to protect your company, we would like to do, the same thing. I mean, I don't know exactly what it would look like for us to protect ourselves, but we would like to have some sort of security as well. So.
Okay. Yeah, Natori, honestly, if I were in your shoes, I might feel the same way, kind of newer, starting out with this. Like I mentioned, we have 200 locations throughout the nation, and we haven't had a lot of issues. So I think that you can definitely rest assured that with this clause the way that it is, it's going to afford you guys not a lot of issues.
Sure.
We haven't really run into issues with it in the past, so I don't really foresee it being a problem. So I think you can kind of rest easy in knowing that it's going to be okay as far as that clause goes.
I appreciate that assurance. I guess my question is, what are you hoping to do in the future? As we are starting this relationship together, I would like to get an idea of kind of some of the things that you're interested in doing and why that clause specifically is so meaningful to you.
Sure. We kind of pride ourselves on being super flexible and being able to go wherever the economy goes.
Yeah.
Since we are kind of a fast turnaround sort of store, it's in, it's out, we need to be up on the time. So if people are buying it, that's what we need to be selling. I think our main concern is just that if we get stuck in a location and we're there for a little while and suddenly we realize, hey, this is not a good place for us, we got to be able to have an out so that we're not stuck for years and years. And in a society where marriages typically don't last more than 5 years, to me, understanding that they had done some negotiations and right now we're on a 25-year contract, to me that's just absurd. I don't understand how we can be tied down for that many years. So even the fact that right now we're currently on a 25-year contract just is not a go for me at all. Just because I feel uncomfortable with that, knowing that we don't have the flexibility to do what we want to do with the stores.
So are you concerned more about the flexibility aspect of it or about the time period? Because you mentioned both, and I want to be able to fix what I can for you,
Sure. Awesome. I really appreciate how open-minded you have been, and like I said, that's why they say the best for last, I guess. But with this particular issue, I think it's maybe more of an issue for time period for me.
Yeah.
I mean, ideally, it's not going to make sense for us to come into today, tomorrow, shut off the lights.
Yeah.
That'd be a terrible financial move for us. So we don't anticipate doing that.
Sure.
But it's just on that odd chance that there is an issue. I'd feel much more comfortable. And normally that's what we do anyway. It's just a 5-year lease.
Interesting. Yeah. No, I think that from where you're coming from, it totally makes sense. You know, the market changes a lot, the economy changes, and I totally see, you know, that, like, I guess not fear, but like that desire to, or maybe not desire. What is the word I'm looking for? It's left me. I guess like that constant change that you guys are trying to just stay on top of. I think it's smart. I think it's really smart. I also understand, like, you know, 25 years is a long time. I have problems committing to like what I'm going to eat for dinner. Earlier today, I was going to eat chicken, and I just don't know anymore. Like, I truly don't know. So I totally get it. So maybe that's something that we can talk about a little bit more about, you know, that time period. For us, your business is the most valuable to us. And so we really want to do our best to accommodate you guys. That being said, we do have our financing that we're really trying to work on, which is important to us. But I think that making those adjustments that we need to with our relationship with you guys is more important to us than, you know, the outlying factors like satellite businesses and stuff like that. So what is something that you're more comfortable with then as far as time goes?
As I mentioned, 5 years is typically what we go with.
Uh-huh.
And so normally with the other partners in the firm with discount, 5 years is kind of our sweet spot. Standard. That's what we like.
Totally. I feel you. Yeah, so I think that I'm not sure how much experience, or I guess I'm sure you guys have a lot of experience, but how many stores you guys have that are those anchor stores in big malls? Do you guys have like a significant amount of stores like that?
Yeah, I would say that, a significant amount of the discounts are in malls as the anchor.
Okay, that's good to know. And so you guys have done the 5 years, you know, with many of those malls, and it's worked out?
We have.
Do you guys only stay for those 5 years, or do you guys like sometimes extend your leases? Like, what does it look like for you?
I'm glad you asked that question, because typically we stay there for a lot longer.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as it goes, and in this area, preferably we'd like to stay for 35, 40, 45 years.
Yeah.
That means we're making money, you're making money, there's foot traffic. Our biggest concern is just if things go sour.
Yeah.
We don't want to be stuck.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense to me. I get it. So you guys like to stay for longer. That's really good to hear. I think you guys should probably just keep that 5 years in there so you have room to breathe. That makes sense. I'm wondering if maybe you'd feel more comfortable if we talk down the number of years that we have with you guys signed, but kind of keeping it at a longer commitment than 5 years. Only because, as I mentioned, our financing is really strongly based on the stores that we have, specifically our anchor store. And I think from what I understand, they're looking for someone to be with us for at least 10 years, which, you know, it's twice the amount of 5, but it's also a lot less time than 25 to be committed to. So is that something that you'd kind of be more interested in doing, is kind of talking down the number of years that we're committing to before recommitting?
I'm honestly kind of shocked that they're expecting you guys for 10 years to have a 10 years signed contract. Typically with financing companies, 3 to 5 years is perfectly acceptable.
Yeah.
So that kind of, I don't know, I'm just sort of taken aback by the fact that they're expecting you guys to have 10 years. Honestly, we're willing to work out something. Maybe, like I said, this is typically not something we do, maybe, but 7 years might be something that I could sell to the other partners.
Sure.
But I think that's probably, even that's going to be kind of a hard sell.
Sure. Yeah. So I don't know exactly why it is. I wonder if maybe it is because this is our first time doing this sort of endeavor, that they want more of like a, I guess, security to make sure that their money is going somewhere valuable.
Okay.
Which, quite honestly, I think that they should feel comfortable knowing that a company like Discount is going to be working with us. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly why it is that way, but I definitely think that there's probably space, you know, to kind of negotiate that down a bit. So you're saying 7 years is something that you guys would be more comfortable with?
I think that's something that I could sell with the other owners.
Okay. And so with that 7 years, do you still feel like having your Article 22 in your contract is important to you guys?
Definitely it's important.
Sure.
for us.
Yeah.
Just because we like to have that continuity. It's going to be terrible if I head back and say, hey, we've got all of these 200 locations on the same page, and then we have this one guy in Boston who's doing who the heck knows what, and has their own kind of gig going on. It's not going to be good. But I think that there may be some room for adjustments.
Totally. Yeah. I understand the whole continuity thing. This is our first endeavor in something like this, but all of our other commercial real estate spaces have been, very much the same. So I understand that desire. I'm wondering how have other negotiations for you worked? Have you had any sort of changes or like some sort of like give and take that you've had with other businesses as far as Article 22 goes, or has it all been pretty status quo? I'm just wondering so that I can get an idea of what you're looking for.
Sure. One thing that we've done historically in the past is just done subclauses to accommodate some people. Obviously, you guys are doing a great job with our rent, and we appreciate the rate that you're giving us. And obviously, we've already worked through a lot, and so that's something that typically we've done in the past.
Okay. So I think one major part of the Article 22 is the whole assigning or subletting your contract to someone else. Have you in the past had experiences where you've had to assign your leases or sublet?
Typically, no. Subletting, yes, just on the case that we have a certain part of it that we want to bring another company in. Typically, no.
In the past, what kind of companies have you sublet with?
Typically, it'll be like jewelers or some small appliance places. Typically, something that already meshes well with what we already have going.
Yeah, that makes sense. That
Sure.
totally makes sense. But you've never really had experiences where you've had to assign your lease to someone else?
Typically not. I mean, obviously, we're not in the real estate business, and I don't presume to want to enter into that anytime soon.
Yeah.
So typically, no.
Yeah, I mean, that's good to hear, just because, it'd really stink if the market was so bad for you guys, like you had to leave, that would kind of suck.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the assigning thing is one thing that I think scares us, I think the most. I understand the subletting thing, especially where the companies that you're subletting with fall under your product line, and they kind of just make sense to do that. But the assigning, I'm wondering how comfortable you would feel with, I guess, minimizing the ability or desire to assign, or kind of, I don't know, moving away from it a bit and focusing more on the potential to sublet. How would you feel about that?
So you're essentially proposing maybe a clause that would prevent certain categories, say categories such as maybe a call center, furniture stores that have low foot traffic. Is that kind of what you're hoping for?
I think that I'm kind of looking more for, unless of an extreme circumstance, we don't really move to the assigning. I think I feel a bit more comfortable with subletting, but with the assigning, I think what scares us is that, yeah, you would maybe assign it to a call center or something like that. That's very different from what your current product offering is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would feel totally comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
Maybe just going with the categories that are definitely in retail or similar.
Yeah, soft
things.
Goods and stuff like that.
Yeah, that can be acceptable.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's something that we have been really thinking about a lot, just because we worried that if it and hopefully it doesn't, but if something went south for you guys, that you would just assign to whatever business, and it would kind of disrupt the energy or the flow of our mall. We kind of wanted to keep a similar vibe, and so that's really valuable to us that you guys would be willing to kind of stick within that segment if you end up having to assign your lease, which I'm hoping you don't have to.
Okay, awesome. Time.